Hi, I'm Jen Turrell, and you're about to watch a Mastering Money Matters weekly blab with the women from my Mastering Money Matters group. This is a small group for women who are freelancers, entrepreneurs, and small business owners where we discuss the specifics of the finances that apply to you. We talk about launch cycles, irregular income, quarterly estimated taxes, and other things that are a little different from your general W-2 employment situation. So if this applies to you, come on in and join the conversation. Okay, we are recording. Yay! So, Kim, how do I pronounce your last name?
Caloca.
Caloca. Kim Caloca. I just wanted to make sure. Awesome. So, tell us what you do.
You know, that's a question that I was hoping I could work out with you today. You know, like if I can sit on your couch and kind of try to tell you what I do.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So I started out as a virtual assistant. I was divorcing my ex-husband and I knew I needed to get a job so I could continue to be a stay-at-home mom. Mm-hmm. And I found this freelance administrative support. So I started with that. And then it just sort of morphed into this thing of whatever I do now, which is a combination of virtual assistant work and like a lot of kind of online business management where I just really support business owners with, I don't know, all of the tech stuff, all of the administrative stuff, figuring out what they need as far as bookkeeping and all of that. So
you have a background in bookkeeping, is that right?
Yeah, I did some bookkeeping, like some accounting work while I was, when I went to college, I got a degree in English. So I have a bachelor's in English, but then the whole time I was in college, I was working in accounting.
Oh.
Maybe I should have been going to school for something other than English, but.
Well, English is interesting. You learn a lot about people.
Right. Yeah. I learned that I definitely did not want to be a teacher because everybody kept asking me if I was going to teach. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, I don't have the patience for a classroom full of 30 kids.
I actually would feel so much performance anxiety. I mean, is there a tougher crowd than a classroom full of kids?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think there is.
I don't know. Yeah. Especially like thinking back to when I was in school and there would be a sub.
Right.
Who walked into the room without the class control standards in mind and just had to wing it. I always felt really bad for them and was so glad it wasn't me. Yeah. That convinced me I never wanted to be a teacher either.
Yeah.
I was tough enough.
Well, and I had enough nerves about even getting on this with you. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I've never done any kind of like live stream, like interview, kind of anything chat like this. So this is my first one, Jen. You're my very first.
Well, I think it's good practice, and I think it's good for us all to articulate what we do for people and talk about it.
Yeah,
because
sure.
In quite a few groups, and I remember when Bushra was having her launch and some things went wrong, and you hopped in and helped her.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen you come and save people when they were having difficulties in time crunches with tech stuff going on.
Right.
But to be honest, I'm sure I don't know the full scope of what you do. I mean, I knew you had a background in accounting, but yeah, give us an example. You don't have to say who it is because obviously I know you probably have client confidentiality. But what are the kinds of things that people come to you and say, "I need help with this"?
Well, I have one client who last month, I should say, she wanted to launch her first e-course. Like she has just a little offering that she wanted to put out. So I helped her get her landing pages set up, like to start like an email collection registration for her webinar for her e-course, get a sales page, like nothing fancy. Like I'm not a designer by any stretch of the imagination, but get a simple sales page up where people could purchase the course if they came to the webinar, help her understand like how to send out emails to her list and how to separate her list for who wanted to get on the webinar and who wanted to just subscribe to her main list and how to email both lists and let them know what she's up to. So really how I described it to one of my clients, I said, I want to be like a really good bra. I just support you. Like I support your whole business, whatever you're going to do. I'm going to help you do like the tech stuff. If the tech stuff overwhelms you, tech is so ridiculously easy for me. It always has been. So I help people. Like that's how I was able to Bushra at the time when I helped her, when I jumped on when she was having that haunted launch is what she kept calling it. But I was on that webinar. I just happened to be watching it just to learn from her. And I noticed she was having trouble, and I was like, shoot. So I jumped in. I had never worked with Optimized Press before, which was what she was running on her back end at the time. And I just started figuring things out and got it taken care of for her, like in, the span of 5 or 10 minutes. And that's typically what I do. I mean, I go into my clients' businesses, and whatever it is they might be having trouble with or not be able to figure out how to do, I'm able to figure it out.
That's awesome, because I am not fantastic with tech. That's something that I do go to other people for.
Right.
And Optimized Press, I mean, I personally know nothing about it. Alejandra, who helps me, I think Optimized Press, she's like certified or something, so she goes and gets stuff like that. So it seems really complicated to me.
Right.
But I know Bushra loves it. And yeah. So what did you have to fix? I'm just curious.
It was like one of the payment links, like the payment plan link and the payment, like the whole payment link, somehow they had both ended up being the same, which happens sometimes when you're like duplicating blocks in your sales page. So people were trying to sign up and they wanted to do payments because they couldn't do the whole thing. And of course, it's Bushra and everybody's like, shut up and take my money, and couldn't give her their money. So so I was making it so that she was able to take their money right then and there.
Yeah. Which is probably the most important thing you could do at that moment for her.
Right.
Yeah. I was talking to someone the other day about finding and hiring VAs, and how sometimes what we want is also just like a cheerleader, like a team member, someone to just be, what is a good idea? Or did you think about this? Or I don't know, like actually bounce ideas off of, and just have someone there as part of the team to be like, to not feel alone. Because maybe you do feel really alone, and there are sort of different levels of relationships that you can have with people on the team.
Right, totally. And that's one of the things I love the most about what I do, is the relationships that I get to build with my clients, because the kiddo's about to go to school here. So, but yeah, like that feeling of team, because I can sit here all day on my computer and fix things for people and kind of interact in Facebook groups, but it's the relationships that I get to build with my clients, and having them experience that feeling of that team, that camaraderie. So, and bouncing ideas and kind of saying, hey, I don't think that's such a good idea sometimes. So,
well, it's good to hear, even if it's that it's not a good idea, because if you don't, we can be blindsided when we're excited about things sometimes, like, oh, they were going to love this, without really realizing, oh, wait, no one actually asked for this.
Right.
You really wanted, I don't know. Yeah.
One of my clients, Julie Lowe, she's a Facebook ads expert. She would always take her laptop with her, like even if she was going on like a vacation or a weekend with her kids or whatever. And I so remember the first time that she was going out of town after I had been supporting her for a while, and she was like, okay, she's like, I think I can leave my laptop at home because I know that you're going to be there. Like, she still had her phone, of course. It's not like she was completely going Stone Age, but she's like, I think I can leave my laptop at home. I'm like, you totally can. I've got you. And just that feeling of her being able to leave her computer at home was like, that felt good to me, that I could give her that. Bye. Oh. Have a good day at school.
Okay, bye.
He does afternoons?
Yeah, afternoon kindergarten.
Oh, cool. That's exciting.
Yeah.
You believe the year's almost up?
No, it's like he was telling me yesterday they've got like 15 days left of school or something.
I think mine have even less. And 2 days this week are early release for my kids.
Oh, right. Yeah, he's going to have some schedule change things going on. Like, I love my son. I love being here with him, but I'm almost like, my business has grown to the point where I'm like, okay, next year you're going to be in first grade. You're going to be in school for like 5 hours instead of 3.
My little one started full days at kindergarten this year. And that really did everything for me. Like, I finally feel like I could do a podcast now. I could start taking more clients. It was like, I have this set period of time, except when you don't. When they have these random half days and like days off, and we had lots of sick days and snow days. But yeah, I was actually looking at this article I did at the beginning of last summer about Summertime's Blues and the Working Mom, and why, how the kids having the summer off, if you're relying on school for your main childcare, such a mom issue. Like, you hardly ever hear on any other forums from men being like, oh my God, I can't believe the school year's almost up and I'm trying to figure out the camps and, do all this stuff.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty much always us, especially if we do work from home.
Yeah.
Because if the kid doesn't do something during the summer, then they're home with us. And then we don't work probably, or work very little.
Right.
Bit of an aside there. So where can people find you?
My website is kimcaloca.com. Caloca. So I live in California, and if you're a Spanish speaker, you know that loco or loca is crazy. So California crazy, if you can remember my last name that way.
Nice. California crazy. We have something out here on our ranch called Loco Weed. Have you ever heard of that?
I read about that.
I know, that's rough. But okay, I typed it there into the comment section. So do you have openings for clients if there's someone who sees this and is like, oh my God, I need a team member, I need someone who can fix all my tech or who can learn Optimize Press in 5 minutes?
It's very case by case right now. Uh-oh. Why did I just suddenly have an echo? Do you have an echo? Can you hear it, an echo, or is that just me? Okay, good, it went away. It's very case by case. I don't necessarily have openings for monthly retainers, but I do, I just always want to help out my fellow entrepreneurs. Like, I know that the tech can be so daunting, and since it's so easy for me, sometimes something that takes me 5 minutes to fix, I want to fix that. So if anybody wants to reach out to me and just say, hey, I saw you on Jen's Blab and I need help with this, I'd be so happy to help, and we can figure something out. So
do you help people with things like migrating from one newsletter service to another, things like that?
I can, yeah. I've done that before. I'm really good at Infusionsoft. So if anybody's looking at an Infusionsoft campaign set up, or if they want some of the kind of specialized things in Infusionsoft, where you can have a date timer, where you can send out a link to somebody and have it expire after a certain number of days.
Oh, I've heard of things like that.
Yeah.
Those sound cool. I feel like Ramit CT talks about, and Bushra probably too, because I met Bushra on Ramit stuff. But what I like about the idea of that is, people try to do urgency based on time sensitivity, but if it's a link, often either the link's there or it's a dead link.
Right.
So, I know with our record label that we run, we do things like timed sales, and sometimes if someone clicks on the old link, even if we've ended the sale, they somehow still buy it at the sale price. And we're like, wait, that wasn't supposed to happen, but it was a newsletter we sent out last week, and they clicked that link, and somehow it still went through.
Yeah. What are you using? What email service do you use?
So Alejandro just migrated me from MailChimp to ActiveCampaign for my Jen Turrell business, but I do the newsletters for our record label because it's much fewer, and we do releases, release by release, so it depends on our release schedule. So I still do those in MailChimp.
So, and then your sales page for when you're selling something, and what are those on? Are those on a lead pages, or what are they on?
No, it's because we have a shop set up, which I'm not even sure, maybe it's Shopify. It's one of our friends built the record label website. Here, I'll type it in case you want to take a look. I don't know. It was my project for B School when I first did it in 2012. Is this right here? And my idea was not actually to restart our record label. I did it as jenandstu.com because we both owned different record labels at different times, and then we combined into one record label at one point. And then we had kids with autism, so we stopped doing creative stuff for a while and just really focused on that. And businesses that we did keep going, so we took a big break. And then when I made this website, my idea was, okay, Stu and I have both been in many bands over the years. We've had our releases on other people's labels. We've released a lot of stuff with labels, but there was no one place where anyone could go to find every Stuart Anderson release. So I was like, let's have this one shopping cart where you can get most everything. We still don't have everything because in his early career, he was on a major label for a while, and when he was 19, he signed contracts and doesn't own his own music, stuff like that. So we didn't have the rights to a few things, but we got everything that we want. We're still finding master tapes. But yeah, can you tell at all what kind of like shop?
Well, it looks like it might be WooCommerce. Does that sound familiar?
Maybe. My level of technical expertise is like a friend built it who has been one of Stu's fans for a long time, and he's done different things online for us over the years. So they built it for free. So when someone does a website for free, you don't really ask all that many questions or complain, or it works. So we're just like, okay, cool.
It does. It looks like it's WooCommerce, and if it's Shopify, you guys would be paying like a monthly fee, so you would definitely notice that.
Okay, we're paying a month.
And with WooCommerce, like you can set coupons, or you can set like prices that are temporary, like expiration prices, so you can.
And we do. We'll have like a sale, and we'll say it lasts until Friday. It's just a few times people have gotten like some other, like an old price somehow, but I don't know how we did that.
Right. Well, you can set the price in the item so it has like a limit, like a date expiration and all of that. And it might be like that you had set up the product with a different link to a different price. And maybe that's why. But then like the other benefit of having it where you make it like a sales price is that it keeps how many of that you've sold. So like if you have it as two different things with two different prices, then we sold 6 of these when we sold it for $4, and we sold 20 over here when we were selling it for $5. So
right. Okay.
Yeah. So next time you want to run a sale on one of those things, hit me up and I'll help you change the price and make sure it's all running right.
Yeah, maybe we could do that. Though after the last sale, Stu was like, that's it, we're not doing a sale again. Which we normally don't do sales because the idea, which I agree with, tell me what you think of this. If you help people with launches and stuff, Stu's issue is always he wants to reward the early birds. He wants to reward people who buy it early. So what we do now instead is our mailing list, we give it to them like on a Friday, and we don't release it to the general public until say Monday or Wednesday.
Gotcha.
And if they order it before that, they get a discounted price, and then the price goes up after that. Because he thinks like if someone buys it when it's a new release, which is when it helps us most, and then we sell it 2 months later at half price, like it makes his idea is that everyone's going to think, oh, why should I buy it now? I'll just wait till it's on sale.
Right.
Yeah. He thinks it devalues the people who buy it at the full price. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. With me, that's tricky. That's kind of how it works, right? Like if you want it right away, you're going to pay the premium price to get it right away. Mm-hmm. And then it goes on sale later. Like, I can find tons of albums in the bargain bin now because that's the way they do it. But I think there is, I don't know, have you guys looked at doing anything like Patreon?
What's that?
So Patreon is a service where people pay they can pay like whatever amount they want per month, or you can set different amounts. Like if people want to just contribute $5 a month to you guys because they love your music and they know they want everything you put out, then you release to them and they get it included for what they're already giving you. And then you can sell separately for people who aren't patrons, and you can sell to them for whatever the price is.
So like probably mainly for digital downloads, I would think, right? Yeah. Which though
people actually buying CDs from you, and you're packing and shipping CDs?
We're vinyl.
Oh wow.
So today, actually, I have a big box of LPs in my car right now. So that's
cool.
We're Luddites. We've done a few CDs here and there, and actually, like the comp that we just did, it's called Typical Girls, and it's a compilation of like the top female-fronted indie and punk bands right now. It's really cool. It's beautiful. It's clear vinyl. It has gorgeous. Oh yeah, I'll show you. I've been posting it lots of places. I'm sure I've shared it on my main Facebook place too, because it's really cool. But we ended up doing a CD because we didn't want to send LPs for promo. So we thought we'd send the CDs for promo, but then a lot of the bands, because there were 16 bands on it, and often we give each band, say, like 10 copies or something, because some of these bands have 7 members in them. You want everyone to get a copy, but we were like, wow, we can't actually send everybody LPs. Oh, I am so sorry. That's my dentist calling. I have an appointment tomorrow. So we also thought that we could, if any bands want more copies, they could have the CD copies because it's just to ship the copies. And yeah, quite a few people have ended up buying the CDs without the LP because of shipping costs to Europe and other places. So
right.
And we do offer downloads too, but with us, because we do very limited LP or very limited vinyl pressings, if they wait too long, they might miss the vinyl.
Right.
Yeah.
My head is turning with all kinds of ideas for how you guys could do that. Like, I mean, what if you even did like a subscription LP? I mean, do you guys know how often you release something?
We've talked about that. We might be able to do it for something like the compilation because we've already started putting together volume 2. People like this Typical Girls comp that we did so much. We're almost sold out of it, which is fantastic. Sometimes it takes years to sell out of something, and sometimes it happens pretty quick. It kind of depends. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. See what Stu thinks. He did, I help with the label and do the finances and stuff, but he's it's more his baby than mine. He does the podcast for it, and I have my stuff too. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a good idea. So Patreon, like Patreon. I'll check it out. I don't know. Because I think we did a singles club at one point, but then the issue is if something happens in the midst of it and it ends up, like it's not going to break even or something and you don't want to finish the whole series, then you need a commitment to people. So
if you look up, are you familiar with Amanda Palmer at all?
I am. I loved her book. And I used to listen to the Dresden Dolls.
Yeah, so she's on Patreon, and she has really kind of taken the lead with that, with how to do Patreon. So you might check her out.
Okay, I did not know.
She's got her structured, and it's very non-committal. That's the thing. It's just for people who love what you're up to as artists and just want to support it. It's patronism, but a new version of that, for the modern age.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did notice her TED Talk and her $1 million. Was it Kickstarter or GoFundMe or?
Yeah, that was her $1 million Kickstarter. Yeah,
I remember that happening. That was pretty shocking and amazing. Yeah, I had no idea she was big enough to raise $1 million, but
neither did she.
Yeah, it was impressive. So I don't know. Does anyone else want to jump on here? Who's watching? Deli or Emma or anyone? So we have another half hour. Not that we need to stop talking either, but I just thought someone else might want to hop on too.
Yeah, more the merrier.
You guys still promoting the retreat in New York? You could hop on and mention it if you want. Who else is here? Oh, well, we could keep talking too. So, what else have you been doing?
Let's see. I'm learning a lot about Facebook ads right now. So I'm starting to really offer that more as a bit of a service, although I'm still kind of tucking it under my other clients. Because it's so tricky.
I've not had any success with it. I mean, I've not tried it much, but my team and I a few times, and it's mainly just been list building is all we're focusing on, not even trying to sell anything because I don't do webinars. Yeah. I think most people push Facebook ads with webinars and then the sales back end of the webinars.
Webinars are actually a more expensive and more challenging way to convert Facebook ads. The cost is higher for a webinar conversion than it is for let's say if you had some kind of your worksheet or your calculator might be a good one to run a Facebook ad on. Or what would be cool for you is a quiz, how savvy are you? How financially savvy or something?
I've wondered about doing a quiz. So, okay, do you help your clients do quizzes?
I do. There's a tool I really like called Viral Quiz Builder. And what you can do with that is create your own quiz on your site. And then,
how do you create a quiz?
Echo again.
So, how do you create a quiz on your own site?
So, there's a tool called Viral Quiz Builder.
Okay.
And you just download that and install it. I think it's $47.
Okay.
So it's a plugin, and you can create the quiz as short or as long as you want. You can have it based on points. You can have it on a scale of 1 to 100 points, or however many points you want to have, or you can have it as a type, like if you wanted to say like, what type of money master are you, and have like 4 different types. I created a quiz for an offer I was testing out last year called, it was just a hero quiz. So it was asking, the quiz was all about what type of hero are you? And it was like the altruistic hero, and like it had like 4 different hero types. So yeah, you just write out your quiz and you assign the number of points or which type to the answer. And then when they get to their answer at the end, what you do is you create a graphic and you create like a Facebook share button, and you can share on their Facebook profile what their result of the quiz was. So it gets you like that organic traffic, people seeing, oh, somebody shared this quiz, I want to take this quiz.
Huh. Well, when people do these quizzes, it's just totally made up. There's no like research going into.
I mean, if you want to get fancy with it, you can. But a lot of times people are just doing them for fun, or for list building, or for even raising awareness. I mean, I'm sure that you could probably write a quiz in such a way that it would educate people as they're taking the quiz. Like it would be like, okay, if there was an emergency tomorrow, if you had an emergency tomorrow month that costs $800, how would you pay for it? Credit card, your emergency savings fund, on and on.
Mm-hmm. Sell stuff on eBay.
right. Sell your kid.
Yeah, because I remember I was talking with my team about there was a quiz that I took on, it was LegalZoom, and it was about I think it was supposed to help you pick what business structure was right for you. And I was really shocked at how little they included in terms of, like for me, the decision of whether you should be a sole proprietor or an LLC, a lot of it is about liability to me, right?
Yeah.
Employees, does anyone come to visit? Like, is there any way someone could sue you? Could they fall down in your house if they're visiting you as a client?
Right.
Do you have need to protect your personal assets? Do you have personal assets in excess of a certain amount? Like, do you have an umbrella policy that helps to cover you? Like, those are the kinds of things that I would look at first, because if you can be a sole proprietor, there are certain advantages in terms of how you file your taxes and how you have to report your income and all those things. It can be easier. If you're selling stuff on Etsy, you probably don't need to be an LLC. You can probably just be a sole proprietor. That keeps it nice and simple. You should still separate your accounts so you know what you're making and what you're not.
Right.
Yeah, and as far as being a C or an S corp, like C corp, I really think is only if you are going to bring in investors, if you're going to sell it or to a big company, or if you want to go public, like those totally make sense. Or if you're doing something so big, you'll need some kind of public funding or something,
Yeah.
Sorry, my cat can open this door to get in.
I thought I heard a cat.
He can't open it to get out. Are you sure? Oh, he is opening it. Oh my God, how does he do that? I need to set up a camera around the corner. It's a round knob. I don't know how he can manage to bump it open.
That's impressive.
I can hear that it's just open enough, his little paws going like this. He's trying to do it. I'm going to let him out. Hang on.
Okay.
You want to get out, kid cat? Yeah, how did you get it that much open? I'm impressed. Okay. He's a very smart cat. He caught a bird earlier. I was watching him, and I was like, oh, should I try to save it? No, I can't save that. It's
the circle of life. That's totally.
Yeah.
My dog got a gopher this morning, so she was all proud of herself.
That is awesome, because gophers in your lawn.
We have a garden, so we have all of these vegetables growing. So
good cat.
A fan of the gopher. Thank you, Scout, for protecting our garden, protecting the house. Yeah, that makes me nervous that LegalZoom has a quiz like that. I don't think that's. I don't want you to make a quiz on what they should do as far as a living trust, or that kind of stuff. Yeah.
It didn't get to the level of how you're earning your income and how you might be open to liability. That was what surprised me. I mean, it did ask some interesting questions, but I took it and I was like, what did I learn from that? It didn't actually tell me that I should have an LLC or an S corp, because I was thinking it. And to be honest, when I'm working with people who are just starting out, I don't recommend the first thing you do is to start an LLC.
No. Because
I've done that in the past when I had a partnership for one business. We registered first, and we got our bank accounts, and we got, business bank accounts, which were costing money from the start. And it took us quite a while. We were developing an app. This was all an autism-focused business, and we wrote a book, and we did all these things, but it took us so long to get to income. And eventually we both got to other places. You know, she's a board certified behavior analyst, a PhD level psychologist. She has lots of other things she does besides this thing we were working on together.
Yeah.
But we got to the point where we're like, I think we need to cut our losses with this. Like, we spent money trying to develop this app and do all this stuff.
Right.
It just took us so long because I have 2 kids with special needs and other businesses, and she has her career. She got pregnant and had a baby. And finally we were like, we cut our losses, and we really had not recouped our initial investment in developing the app. And I wished we hadn't also been spending monthly fees having a business bank account and register our LLC and all of that. I was like, if we waited until enough income was coming in to warrant having a business bank account with fees.
You know, one thing I am morally opposed to, like downright morally opposed to, is paying fees for checking accounts, any kind.
Yeah.
Do you know that there's at least 2 different free business accounts that you can get, like free business checking accounts?
Well, back when ISC was around, but what
US Bank has a free one, and there's an online only bank. It's simple. I think it's Simple Business Bank. If you look up Gardner Bank, Gardner, they have a free small business checking too.
Okay, Gardner. Well, in ours, where we bank now, as long as you have more, like, some of them are more than 500 or more than 1,000 or whatever, you waive the fees, or if you have direct coming in.
Yeah.
So that's well, that's how we do our current business accounts. But yeah, this other one that we didn't have income for yet, we were paying $15 a month to Bank of America to have this checking account that we could both access, and we were in different states, and yeah, but it got a little confusing. And I really, since going through that experience myself, I'm like, wait until you have regular recurring income coming in enough that you'll need to be filing taxes for, really to start doing more of these expensive, well, not super expensive, but
well, it is expensive though, because for either an LLC or an S corp, you have to have there's a minimum tax, or like it's either a minimum tax or there's like a registration fee that is as much as your yearly minimum tax. I've been in my business for almost 3 years now, and this year when I did my taxes, my accountant was like, okay, it's probably time for you to do either an S corp or an LLC, and he gave me advice as to which one and all of that. But he's like, you're just right at that brink now after being in business for 3 years. You know, it's just, people think that, you know, if they have, as long as they have a business, they need to have that kind of structure in place. And don't get me wrong, I think it's totally wise, but I think you have to really look at the big picture, and you can't just do things out of a panic of thinking like that's what you're supposed to do. Because it could be like you said, like what happened with you and your friend, that you guys found it didn't pan out. And so it didn't even get to the point of making sense to have spent all of that money on that particular thing.
It did. That's true. And I do sometimes think there's a tipping point in your business too, where doing things like that makes it feel like its own entity and its own thing, and you start to kind of respect the business a bit more.
Right.
But again, I think it does need to be financially making sense. Like when you are doing your quarterly estimated tax, when it's enough to be paying taxes on,
right.
Expensing out everything that you're doing. Because often for the first year or two, I mean, less so with online businesses, but you know, like with our record label, we have manufacturing costs. So obviously we have more overhead than you do for an online consulting business or something like that. But yeah, they're still startup costs, and there still takes a period of time to get your clientele and to start having either sales or clients who pay you regularly for things. So,
right.
But yeah, so it's interesting. But I do think having a separate bank account, at least a PayPal account from the very start, is really important. Because a lot of people I talk to have had it mushed in with all the rest of their money for so long, and they're using it. Or if they do have it mainly in a PayPal account, they're still doing all their Amazon purchase, all these other purchases that are personal out of the money that comes in for the business. So like the income business, but the outflow's mixed. You really don't have a sense of what you're making.
Yeah. And see, I think the thing that I really appreciate about those 2 free business checking accounts that I mentioned is that there's no reason not to get a business checking account with either one of those. And then you, when you start, I have this in my, like my email opt-in series now is like 5 days to business bliss. So I have in there, like, pay yourself, like treat yourself, like be your own boss, really pay yourself a paycheck. If you have that business checking account and you have your money going in there, whether it's coming through PayPal or Braintree or Stripe, whatever processor you're using, then you can write yourself a check to your personal account and feel like really identify that you are your own boss. You are your employer, you know?
Mm-hmm. And then you have an official amount that you've drawn until you can get to the point where you take a real salary, which I think that's a big milestone too. Like to be making enough regularly to know that you can cover a certain regular salary amount every 2 weeks or so.
Right.
Because then you can really get on a regular budget like normal people do, knowing like, okay, I have this much coming in. I can regulate my expenses much more easily.
Right.
You're doing draws that aren't regular draws. It's harder to balance that all out. But
yeah.
Cool. So with these free business checking accounts, though, are you able to use, so say you haven't registered as an LLC yet, do you need to go get an EIN number or can you use your social security number?
Nope, you can use your social.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And just use your social.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, that's awesome.
Know that with PayPal, you can get a debit card. So the way I have I'm a banking junkie. So I have my personal checking account linked up to my personal PayPal account.
Okay.
I have my business checking account linked up to my business PayPal.
Mm-hmm.
And for each PayPal, I have a debit card, which you can do with any PayPal account. There's something where you have to like check the business section, but it doesn't affect you in any way. And then you get 1% cash back on all of your PayPal purchases, like with your card. So like I use my personal PayPal card at the store and I get 1% cash back on my debit card. Right. So that's another way. Like, so if you aren't at that point where you have the business account yet, you can get yourself a PayPal debit card for your PayPal your PayPal account and use that to kind of keep your purchases separate more.
Okay. So when you need to do business purchases like office supplies or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. I like that. Cool. Well, thank you for sharing that. Those are some good financial tips for business owners, small business owners. This will have to be our small business owner SOS. When you need help, go to Kim, small business. Right. Yeah, that's cool. What other tips do you have for small business owners? Since it's just us on here, we can do the whole episode.
Sure. What other tips do I have? I think, one thing, no matter what you're doing, like let's say that you're overwhelmed by the idea of having another checking account or another PayPal and like managing all of that. Mm-hmm. I think if you're using a good accounting system, like if you're using Quicken or anything that is just keeping track of what you're spending, you can still keep track of your business expenses and have like a business category. I think as long as you do that, you can still be in the clear as far as figuring out what you're making versus what you're spending. I just think there's a lot you can do. I don't think there's ever any reason to. I think a lot of people cut themselves short. Like they say, oh, I can't get an LLC. I can't get an S Corp. I can't get a checking account. And they think of the things they can't and why they can't run their business in a way that's really more legitimately organized. And so I think just even keeping track of your finances in some kind of software is one way to do that.
So since you've worked with different people in different businesses, have you gotten a back end look at, like Wade, FreshBooks and Quicken for small business or QuickBooks for small business? Like, do you have an opinion on what you prefer?
I use FreshBooks and I love it. They give you, like, I did a lot of research. I tried Xero, I tried Wave, I actually have not tried QuickBooks for small business or any of the Intuit products. Mm-hmm. But FreshBooks really gives you a holistic overview of your finances. Like you can put in your transactions in there. You can have it import your PayPal transactions. You can track what you're paying yourself out. You can look at like let's say that you grew really fast and all of a sudden you needed to go present a balance sheet or an income expense report. FreshBooks lets you generate those reports, and some of the other Wave and some of the other ones don't let you do that, but FreshBooks does. So, and I mean, they're so cool. Like, that's one of the things I love about FreshBooks. Like, they have their pricing on the website, but if you call them, they have different custom pricing, and you can just tell them how many clients you need to have in there or how many invoices you're needing to generate, and they'll give you like a different price than what's advertised on the website. Like, they make it so easy. So
that's good to know.
Yeah.
I know sometimes I trying out things, like especially with lots of financial apps. I end up with my phone really crowded, and my own investment portfolio honestly looks like I'm a bit nuts, because I'm like, oh, motif investing, let's try that out. Oh, Acorns, oh, Betterment, let's try them all.
Right.
So amounts of money in all of these different places that I test out. And I started trying to do some of that with the different accounting software, but to set up my own stuff, I did test out Xero and Wave. And because for our multiple businesses, I think if I just did one business in Wave and one in another, maybe that would work. But our record label and our cattle ranch both have massive inventory needs. You know, we need to keep track of what we have and what we don't, and what we're selling out of, and how many we sold at different prices and how many we put to promo.
Yeah.
Which those other accounting softwares really couldn't handle. So we ended up going back to QuickBooks in the end. And that's what my accountant uses. And my accountant is my dad's accountant too. So I've always just used Roger. So yeah, in the end, I tested out some of them, but I was just like, oh, this one, like with Wave, I could do some add-ons. Oh, no, it was Xero. I could do third-party add-ons to try to do inventory and stuff. But I was like, I got exhausted. I was like, it's really too much effort to do all this other stuff. But I have a hard time recommending things to people that I haven't tried myself.
Right.
So I'm glad to have your recommendation for FreshBooks. And I know Denitha Doe, who's in the group too, she not only uses Xero herself, but she's a spokesperson for Xero, she's been in an ad. I don't know what that makes her exactly.
Okay.
Spokesperson or something. You know, and she is an accountant, so she's promotes them. But yeah, I haven't felt quite able to be like, yeah, Wave, because it didn't really work for me, or it didn't really.
Wave seemed really appealing when I started, because it was free for me to be able to go in and invoice people, and that was mainly what I was looking for, was how do I send somebody a bill to tell them to pay me? Like, I need to. So, but then it didn't have the reports, and it didn't have the ways of like keeping track of the whole picture like FreshBooks does. So
okay, that makes sense. Well, that's good to know. All right.
And I'm really frugal, and for me, Xero, I don't like the pricing of Xero, so I haven't been able to like bring myself to switch to Xero.
Yeah, and I did the free trial. You know, with all these things, I try to get it set up and sorted in the free trial time. And I struggled some with Xero, to be honest. I had some trouble getting it set up, and the customer service, I probably could have spent a bunch of time on the phone, but I was trying to do it through chats and stuff, and eventually I was like, oh. I have our real accounting that we're doing over here. I'm like testing it out with these things, and it just takes
right.
In the end. So, well, cool. So, do you, in terms of accounting stuff, are there services that you offer people with bookkeeping or accounting?
No, I haven't specifically done bookkeeping services. It's something I've thought about offering, but I can't get in there and see other things that need to be done and not do them. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if I see clients needing bookkeeping help or help with organizing their billing systems and stuff like that, then I help with that.
Mm-hmm. Or getting set up. Say someone hasn't been doing any accounting software yet. If they want to get set up, can you help them if they're struggling?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's something good for the group too, because I know there was a point when we did the Build Your Financial Team module the first time. A few people this year were hiring their accountant and getting their bookkeeping software set up. And there were a number of people asking, like, which one should I use? And that was when I really struggled, because I was like, I don't want to tell people who are just, either website designers or organizers or have relatively simple financial needs in terms of bookkeeping that they should go QuickBooks, because it's a bit hefty. Not everyone needs to know how to do that.
It's complicated, and it's not very user-friendly. Like, I have used QuickBooks I used to work for a plumbing contractor.
Okay.
So I'm very, very familiar with QuickBooks. And in fact, I just helped another woman who's she's in the Lucky Bee community. I helped her because she has a business. They build like these really nice log homes for people. and I helped her get set up to where she could do direct deposit for her 1099 contractors or subcontractors.
Oh, nice.
So so I helped her get that set up, and that was cool. I was like, you know what, this is what I used to do. Like, I could probably help people just kind of do like an hour call or whatever, and like with Zoom, I can go on and remote control their screen, and we can really work together on their computer. Yeah. Did you not know that?
I did not know. You can.
Yeah. When you share the screen on Zoom, there's a button that you can click that's like request remote control. So then while you and I are on a call together, I can like work on your computer and help you. Like, I could help you with stuff. If there's anything you're hung up on in your QuickBooks, I could help you with it. And you can see what I'm doing. It's not like I have access. Like, it's not like I can be in there doing anything nefarious or whatever.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm constantly becoming more and more impressed by what's capable with computers. Like, actually yesterday, Tara and I were on a call, and I was wanting in my blog post, so the blog area of my website where we list all of my podcast episodes, and someone had said, oh, I wish that I could click to tweet the pulled quotes from your interviews, because we always have a click to tweet, but click to tweet's a little limited. You can't click to tweet anything in your whole thing that you want. And she was like, oh, here's this new plugin.
Yeah.
Put a plug in it, and now I can highlight anything on the entire page and click to tweet it. And she, we were sitting there, and she was like, oh, try it now. And I did it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I can click to tweet anywhere. But then I was like, how do we let other people know they can click to tweet anything on my whole site? Like, because that's,
right.
Me clicking to tweet it is one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could probably just put a little block into your theme that's like on your blog post page. It says click anywhere to click to tweet.
Yeah, like highlight any line, because I always do pulled quotes from every interview. And I was like, actually, that is brilliant. Then be able to pull that any quote they want, put it in a tweet, and have, when people click the link, bring them back to this podcast episode. Like,
right.
Awesome. I love it.
Totally. I want to create like just a whole e-zine from podcasts. Like, I want to have podcasts transcribed into articles and laid out in like a magazine format with pull quotes out and pretty graphics, and have like a magazine compilation of like some of the best podcasts, like a monthly or quarterly. That's one of those ideas that I need more time, more hours in the day, please.
Well, that's interesting too. Well, I do transcribe my solo episodes. We have them transcribed and put in as text. I don't do it with the interviews, because a half hour of two people talking, that's a lot of words. Like,
what do you use? Well, do you transcribe them yourself?
No.
What do you use? Like, what service?
So I was using someone in England for a while, and then I realized, I have all these fancy hand tasks built up because I share my fancy hand link. So then I've been doing fancy hands for a bit, but I was looking at both. Rev was one, and there's this other one here that's called like Go Progressive. It was even a little cheaper. If you can give them a bit more time, you can get it down to like 60 cents per minute. I think Rev was $1 a minute or something like that. So you can get them relatively cheap. I haven't tried them all yet to make sure the quality is good. The only thing is what they do. Oh yeah, Go Progression was slightly cheaper than Rev. Mm-hmm. So there are these services that will transcribe it so much per minute.
Yeah.
The thing is, what Catherine was doing for me in England was actually making it into more of a blog post, and even with fancy hands, I was like, please leave out the ums and ahs, the fillers, anything that doesn't sound like written word, just, you can skip it. But it's hard, we still do some editing. And then I've started trying to repurpose my blog posts for guest posting articles, because I find it so much easier to talk than write.
Right.
Funny, because I was a creative writing major and I always thought I would be a writer, but I agonize over writing. It takes me a long time. I'm definitely way more of a perfectionist trying to write something.
Yeah.
I'm just talking my idea out. Ideas flow so much more easily just talking. So, yeah.
Well, especially when you practice every week.
Yeah, but the thing is, just like 8 to 12 minutes of me talking solo, that's thousands of words. It's more than an article. It just...
Oh, yeah.
A lot of words. When you get the word count back, I'm like, oh my God, that's pages of type. I need, so a few times I've cut 2,500 words down to 750 word article to submit somewhere.
Nice.
I know, which is kind of
easier than agonizing eking out the 750 words, right? Because I find like when I write, typically it ends up being like maybe 500 words. And then I'm like, oh, but this is so good. I can't write more. Like, that's going to ruin it. When you start to like mess with it too much.
Yeah. Though, I've heard this saying, which I really love, that perfection is not when you can't add anymore. It's when you can't take any more away. I think it's some Eastern bonsai kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I love that because I tend to do the opposite. I tend to get too wordy and then need to cut it back.
Right.
So I think 500 to 750 words is really a nice amount of text to read nowadays.
Yeah, like for Huffington Post and some of the other ones, like they usually want like 1,000 words. Or am I remembering that right?
I know I've done less words than that for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to look. I need to do more writing. That's really, yeah.
Well, talking about all these different skills. You could do Tales of a VA or something like that, like all the things that come up. Obviously anonymized, so you're not like outing any clients or anything, but just talk about all the things that you do for people and the relationships that develop and the things that come about. Yeah. Studies, how you've made a difference, how you've more than paid for yourself in people's businesses. Because that's something I feel when people think they can't afford a VA, which it was a huge step the first time I brought a VA on, and I did Get Friday first, because I'd read 4 Hour Work Week or Tim Ferriss's thing, and I was like, oh, okay. I think it was called something slightly different then. I had so much trouble there, to be honest. And then I did Zirtual. Like the big companies, I really struggled with because they kept disappearing and they kept assigning a new designated VA, and there was no relationship.
Right.
I didn't feel like they cared about my business. If they disappeared, if they left the company, if they just didn't show up one day, there was nothing to do. It was just okay, I guess we start over again, with this thing. I thought it was being worked on, and then I kept asking for it, and it never showed up, and now that person's gone. So that was a struggle. But I do think that, thinking about your time, and when I talked to Bushra about this, did you listen to the episode that I did with Bushra on my podcast?
I didn't get to, no. I need to check out.
We shout you out, so you should listen to it.
Yeah.
But so I brought it up because I was talking about when you do get help, she has this idea that she can do things better than anyone else. And I was like, oh my God, I am the opposite of you. I'm like, how long will it take me to learn ActiveCampaign? How long will it take me to learn how to do, YouTube cards so that I can take a music video and make it clickable so they can buy the record while they're watching the video?
Right.
If I pay someone for an hour of their time who already knows how to do it, instead of me taking 5 hours of my time to learn how to do it,
right.
That's a real good use of my time, especially since I do have, a lot of caregiving responsibilities, and it's worth it to me to spend time with my kids and not tech stuff.
Exactly.
Bushra and I had a very interesting conversation, and she was shocked. She was like, you're like, my perspective on it was foreign to her, and she was so surprised by it, and she was like, that's so amazing that you feel like other people can do things better than you. And I was like, oh my God, of course I think other people can do things better than me. That's the reason for specialization, is so that certain things get done really well by certain people, I think,
Yeah, totally.
So awesome. Thank you for sharing all of that.
Yeah, thank you.
So, we're almost up to an hour. Anything else you want to share before we go?
I was just thinking about this, like what you're talking about with the different VA services and like Zirtual and all those other kinds of things, or where people, when they're hiring a VA, one of the common mistakes I see people make is thinking like, okay, I can only afford $15 an hour. I can only afford $20 an hour, whatever it is. And they see my rates and they kind of like,
What are your rates? I'm just curious.
Well, I don't work in hourly at all. Like I won't track my time and then bill you 50, 75 an hour. I just won't do it. So I do packages of either, like my lowest package is $500 a month.
Okay.
And I've done the work. I've had a couple different coaches talk to me about like, I need to be charging about $100 an hour for what I do. And the thing about that is I can do in 20 minutes what would take somebody you're hiring for $25 an hour twice, 3 times as long to do. Mm-hmm. There's just a degree to which I'm working my zone of genius, and with the technology skills that I have, like I'm able to really figure things out and figure them out fast and handle things quickly. And not only that, like I know when I make a mistake, everybody makes mistakes. That's one thing. That's another piece of advice I have too. If you're working with a virtual assistant, if you're going to hire somebody, if you're new to getting some support for yourself, know that they're going to make mistakes because they're humans. But the thing is, can you catch your mistake and can you proactively on your feet do something about it? Like I've, put in redirect links. Like if I put a bad link in an email or something, like quickly redirect the link. So there are things like that when you're considering how much you want to spend on a VA, you really need to think about, like, do I just want to keep to a budget, or do I want to have someone who's really going to be able to completely support me and completely handle X, Y, and Z?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What skills do they need to have?
Right.
Yeah. Because, there's one thing to outsource the $10 an hour stuff that you're doing right now and you feel like your time is worth more.
Yeah.
But as far as tech stuff, I am not skilled with that. Like I need to pay someone more than what it would cost for my time to do it, because I would take so much. I'd end up watching YouTube videos and being like, huh?
Yeah.
Like Facebook ads earlier. So I did watch one of Kim Luna's Facebook ad webinars at one point. Set up a Facebook ad that I thought I had followed all of the instructions, pixels, blah, blah. I was like, what's a pixel? I've never even heard of a pixel. All right, let me try this. And I set a campaign and I set it going and I was like, okay, let's see how it does. I set it for 2 days, whatever. I never got charged a thing. Nothing ever, like somehow, I don't even know what I did wrong, but nothing happened.
Right.
So I was like, okay, that was my attempt at me spending 3 hours, because I watched the initial webinar and then I got the replay, and that's when during the replay I paused, I did this, and my first attempt, it actually just didn't work. Not only was it not successful in terms of like getting a conversion, nothing happened. So I got nothing out of those 3 hours.
Right.
Next time I had my VA help me. We looked at it, we got clicks, but our click-through rate was our conversion rate was terrible. And I was like, okay, so the landing page, was it the copy?
It's crazy. It's always a combination of all of it. And you have to kind of try this. Okay, change this.
I'm so sorry. I don't know why I just turned my phone off last time that happened. Usually before I get on Blab or Zoom or anything, I just put it on airplane mode, but yeah. Okay. When it's an election year, I don't know. My phone, I feel like I get 5 calls an hour. I mostly don't answer my phone anymore because...
You guys running for office?
I'm not running for office.
I would totally vote for you.
In panicked moments in past campaigns, I have given money to certain groups that I wanted to support, especially when I felt like they were under attack for certain things. Women-focused groups, things like that. But now, like, the Democratic senatorial campaign calls me about not my state's candidates, but the candidates that are in danger in all the other states. And then I have NARAL and Planned Parenthood, everyone who I've ever signed a petition for or supported in any way, calling me, asking me for money. And at this point, I'm like, donor fatigue. I'm so over fatigued. I don't want donating anything to anyone.
Yeah.
Again, right now.
You have a Google Voice number?
I don't. I should probably set one up.
Yeah. Because then you can just put that number on anything you do like that. And then you have this thing where you can block callers.
That's a good idea.
Well, just say this caller.
So many of these just say unknown. So if it says unknown, I don't answer and they don't leave messages. And the other thing I recently did was I got one of these, like, switch your mortgage to a 15-year mortgage from 30. And I was like, oh, let's see how much it'll save me. So I filled out the calculator, which includes your phone number.
Oops.
And then a billion mortgage companies have been calling me. And I'm like, I don't know that I want to take any steps. I just wanted to see how much it could really, based on our current credit score and our payment history, and,
right.
Our housing prices have gone up here. Like how much could I shrink that down if I do 15 years instead of a 30-year mortgage? I just wanted the information, and then maybe I would act on it. But people calling me aggressively puts up resistance. Like, I don't want to talk to any of you now.
Yeah. I don't like when I sign up for a service online and then they call me. Like when I initiate the interaction via computer and I put in my email address, and especially there was one I signed up for recently where I checked the box that asked if I preferred to be contacted by phone or email, and I checked the box that said email, because usually with my 6-year-old running around, I don't have bandwidth for phone calls. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I only do calls by appointment.
Yeah.
But they called me, and I was like, why did you even ask? Why did you ask what I preferred?
They don't care what you prefer. Oh, well, that's a good customer service notice.
Right.
And actually, I think my phone, I think of it as pretty much reserved for emergencies and family, unless, like, I Skype for business stuff, or, I rarely use my personal number for much. If the school is calling me, I want to know, if my kids
right.
need
Right.
But yeah.
Isn't that funny how it's changed?
I know, it has. Actually, I heard a really interesting thing about why the pollsters have been so wrong in recent elections, including this one.
Uh-huh.
Because people don't answer their phones anymore.
Right.
Part of me was like, well, why don't they say sign up here to be part of the poll? But then they were saying the people who will self-select will not be the same people as a random survey. Huh. So it used to be when you couldn't see who was calling you, you would answer your phone because it might be who you wanted to talk to.
Yeah.
And then they could do the Gallup polls and all the census, all these different things. And now most people don't answer those calls.
Right.
I don't want to let you know who it is.
Who, like, the few people who happen to still have a home phone are answering the phone.
Yeah.
Speaking for the larger demographic.
But even there, like, my mom has a home phone, which I don't, but it does have caller ID shows up. You can see if it's someone that she actually knows. I was like, I'd kind of like to, I've never given my opinion in a poll. I'd be interested, consumer polls or whatever. Sometimes I fill those things out if I get a chance to win a Target card or something.
Yeah. But
for the most part, I've never been part of a political poll. And I was like, I'd kind of like to give someone my opinion. I have opinions. You want to hear my opinions?
I've been kind of thinking about running a Facebook ad just to, like, get people's opinions on stuff. Like doing like one of those 1, 2, 3, 4 pictures, like what do you like better? And then just seeing who comments on it. Like, I just want to play with stuff like that. I just love that idea of.
What's the ROI?
What?
What's the ROI on that? Because you're making an investment in the Facebook ad. So what are you getting out of it?
I think I'm getting out of that some ad research. I'm getting some information about who's engaging and who's clicking. Like, maybe I would just have a page that's questions, right? And you can like for these daily thought-provoking questions.
And would they opt in? Like, how do you know who it is? Facebook doesn't tell you who clicks, does it?
No, but it'll tell you, like, you can target people who.
The demographics.
Right.
See, I'm interested in that stuff, but I don't quite yet know how to harness it and use it. Right. Maybe I should set up an appointment about Facebook ads at some point just to discuss it with you. Because I feel people like Bushra, I asked her on our interview when we were talking, because I was like, okay, I've modeled part of my business after part of her business because we went through ZTL, Ramit Sethi's program together. I saw her be wildly successful. I didn't quite follow it the same way she did, but the Persuasion Hacks Lab I loved, which is part of why I started the Mastering Money Matters, because I was like, okay, this is a great way to interact with people for the long term. Like, you have a monthly membership group. That's awesome. And I asked her, so how did you get so much traffic into it? And she was like, oh, it's 100% paid traffic. And I was like, because I've not done any paid traffic. She's like, oh yeah, I run ads for everything. I run hundreds of ads at a time. She was like saying how she just does all these different ads with all these different persuasion groups. And I was like, well, no wonder I'm nowhere near, but I don't know how to do the ads to get the information that I need to retarget and to keep going. So,
yep.
Yeah. I'm interested in it, but it feels a little beyond me right now. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's one of those things, I mean, the Facebook, like the Power Editor, everything is constantly changing. And even the strategy. Sorry.
Uh-oh. Okay, I went still first.
Yeah, it's because
changing.
Actually, since we're over time, I have a call she's trying to call me. But I'm like, what am I talking to you? But yeah, like, since Facebook is so constantly ever changing, it's really one of those things where if it's not going to be something you're wanting to do every day, hire that out. Like, that's like why, you're hiring a VA for some of the stuff that you're going to take hours to figure out. Like, hire somebody else out to figure out Facebook ads and kind of know how to look and what's a good percentage and all of that, so that just as a higher elevation view of what's working well for your business. But you don't need to know like the nitty gritty, how to go in and set the campaign and tweak this and put the pixel here. That's a very higher outable thing for you, I think.
I feel like I need to have some strategy though.
Oh yeah, definitely. But that's why you hire somebody who can do the strategy. Like, you don't just hire a like kind of a button monkey to like put it in and push the right buttons and set it up. Like, you hire somebody who can give you the strategy and who can work with you to adjust your strategy as you go. Okay. And that's what Julie's really good at. And in fact, we're helping somebody with a launch right now. It's her first launch. And Julie is like, it's amazing to watch her work. I love watching people work in their zone of genius. So. See, that's the other thing that's held me back, though, is up to this point, I've really not been a launcher. Like the stress, the massive investment with the need for the massive return has not been attractive to me. Yeah, it doesn't be that way. Yeah. So some of it has been like, I imagine hiring a Facebook ads expert is going to be an expensive thing that I would then need to do something like a launch. No, it doesn't have to be expensive. In fact, what you could probably even do is just set up sort of a long game, like a strategy of like, what I would say for you is probably doing ads for some of your more popular blog posts to create that targeted audience. Just like, and those are cheap clicks where you're just getting people to click on your blog posts, and then you're targeting the people who clicked on your blog posts. So when you want to like open up the doors and you want to kind of like just not do a launch, but just do a ta-da for your membership or whatever, you can do that, and you can target it to those people who you know are already pretty warm to you. So yeah, there's ways to do it, but you don't have to. You'd be surprised at how inexpensively you can get somebody to help you with your Facebook ads. Okay, I'm putting that on my list of things to check out. Yeah. I'm sorry I kept you over. Thank you so much for talking to me today. It was awesome. This was fun. Good to get to know you. All right, you too. Bye. Bye.
If you want to find out more about joining Mastering Money Matters yourself, go to my website, jenturrell.com, and click on the Mastering Money Matters button in the navigation bar.
And immediately sort of relax. But that's the only time I've ever found that, like, in the moment, if I was worked up, it made sense to be able to just sort of let go of the sort of, hamster wheel you can end up on.